Ray Duval had seen this steering wheel before. Different car, same tear. He crouched in the salvage yard and did not touch it. The bag had opened. The driver had died anyway. Ray had spent his career telling people that bag saved lives. Now he was looking at the hole in it. Something had come out of it, from the inside. Ray reconstructed crashes for a living, insurance work mostly. He measured skid marks. He read crush depth like handwriting, long enough at it that he could guess a speed from a bumper. He was quiet and careful and trusted by people who trusted almost nobody. And he liked airbags. Genuinely liked them. He had watched them work. He had seen people walk out of wrecks that should have kept them. When his daughter learned to drive, he bought her a used sedan. He checked the ratings first. Then he checked them again. He told her the bag would be there. He meant it. That car was in his driveway right now. The wreck in front of him was the same era. Different badge. The file said a parking lot. A bent fender. A dull little collision. Survivable. Every measurement on the page said survivable. The woman in the driver's seat had bled out before help arrived. Ray read the medical summary twice, then a third time. It described a wound to the neck. Narrow, deep, clean at the edges, the kind of thing a blade makes. There was no blade in a parking lot. He looked back at the car and felt something shift. Not a hunch, something colder than that. The first thing Ray found was lying on the passenger seat, a scrap of metal about the size of a thumbnail, gray, curled at the edge, torn, not cut, discolored where it had broken, as if something had burned through it. He turned it over with a pen. It did not match the door, or the dash, or anything in the engine bay. It had come from the middle of the car, moving fast. He looked at the wheel again. The fabric of the bag had a slit in it, pushed outward, from behind. Behind the bag sat a small metal canister, the part that fills it. The canister was split down the side, peeled open like a lid. He put a finger near the tear and pulled it back, still sharp. Ray had taken apart more of these than he could remember. He had never seen one open like that. He asked the yard manager where the rest of the debris went. Crushed, the man said. Standard. So Ray asked his question out loud, to nobody. What tears a thing like that open from the inside? He should have let it go. He started a list instead. He pulled files from wrecks he had already closed and signed. Different brands, different factories, different price tags. The same small canister sat behind all of them. The same part, wearing a dozen badges. Then the second thing surfaced, and it made no sense at all. The bad ones clustered. Coastal states, Gulf air, places where summer sits wet and heavy for months. Same model in a dry climate. Bag opens, driver walks away. Same model in Florida. Bag opens, somebody dies. He drew a map at his kitchen table and shaded in the deaths. The shading followed the humidity line. Ray sat back and looked at what he had made. Air is air. Steel is steel. Why would the weather decide who lived? This was written down years before Ray found it. Subscribe because there are more. The third thing Ray found was the worst, because it was nothing. He wanted a test, some way to check a car before it hurt somebody. There wasn't one. Nobody can see inside a sealed canister, not without destroying it. Nothing shows on the outside. No rust, no bulge, no stain, no warning light, no noise, no smell. A safe one and a lethal one look identical. They weigh the same. They sound the same when you tap them. The only difference between them is time. Every hot summer moves a car closer, every wet night, every winter after, and the car gets quieter as it ages, cheaper, more trusted. A family passes it down. A student buys it for cash. The safest object in the vehicle is the one aging into a weapon. Ray thought about his driveway. His daughter's car was the same age as the wrecks on his map. How does anyone warn a driver about a thing that shows nothing? Her name was Dana Reyes, young enough that the insurance was still in her mother's name. Tuesday morning, rain earlier, a four-way stop she used every day of her life. A pickup rolled through it at about the speed of a jog. Metal met metal, a dull sound, not a loud one. Her headlight broke, her hood wrinkled. That was the whole crash. Inside the wheel the canister lit. It was built to burn for a fraction of a second, and it did. It burned wrong. The pressure climbed faster than the steel could hold, and the steel let go. The bag came out. So did the can. She was still holding the wheel. The radio kept playing. The wipers kept moving. The other driver got out and walked over and started apologizing. Then he stopped talking. Ray stood in front of that car weeks later. Rain on the roof again. The wheel was still in it. He wrote a word in his notebook and showed it to nobody. The reason was not in that car. It was chosen in a meeting before she could drive. Inside the canister is a propellant, a powder that burns into gas. Takata chose ammonium nitrate. It is cheap. It is also famously unwilling to sit still. Heat it, cool it, heat it again, and the crystals rearrange themselves. Add moisture, and it happens faster. The powder was pressed into hard tablets, dense, even, predictable. Cycled through enough summers, those tablets crumble. They open up, they grow cracks and pores. A cracked tablet has more surface, and more surface burns faster. Faster burning means more gas in less time than the can was ever designed to hold. There was a fix, a drying agent sealed in with the powder to keep moisture out. Early inflators went without it. Rival suppliers used a different chemistry. Stable, expensive. Takata went the cheap way and won contracts with it, and Rey's three findings fell together. The metal on the passenger seat was the canister itself. The map of deaths was a map of humid summers. Nothing showed on the outside for a simple reason. All of it was happening inside a sealed steel tube. The airbag did not fail. It worked exactly as it was built to work. It had just been built around a powder that would not stay the same, which left a question, and it was not an engineering question. How long had somebody known? It became the largest recall in automotive history. Cars on every continent, brands that competed viciously, sharing a single defect. Replacement parts went out. Some carried the same chemistry. Those were recalled again, later, quietly. Takata pleaded guilty to fraud in the United States. It paid, and then it collapsed into bankruptcy. Executives were charged, and then the old paper surfaced. Engineers inside the company had raised the chemistry years before the first death. They said the powder was wrong. For a device meant to last as long as a car, they were overruled on cost. Later tests ruptured inflators. Regulators said the results were manipulated and buried, so the flaw was never really the failure. The failure was that the warning came first and lost. Rey kept his map. He never published it. He went home and lifted his daughter's keys off the hook. He told her she was borrowing his car for a while. She asked why. He said the brakes needed looking at. Then he sat in her car in the dark driveway, hands on the wheel, engine off. He did not lean back.